outside in the dyeing process, the shadowed areas will not deepen. Hello everyone, Mike here for Wild Frontier Goods, and this is another weekly update video. I should probably call these just update videos because we've been a little bit too busy to make one every week. But we have some really interesting projects that are coming up very soon. We've been very busy, and I'll be very excited to talk about that in the future. But for this video, I want to focus on my new shirt, which is this lovely Kakishibu shirt that we finally made for myself. I've wanted one for a really long time, but we just haven't had the time to make one for my personal use. But I decided it's time for me to have one because I want to showcase how the natural Kakishibu dye can evolve over time. It's one of my favorite dyes, and I love the color, but how it changes is really, really special and really unique. Actually, this can turn into this over time. So it just, takes a little bit of love and care. Also, this is my first day wearing this shirt. So right now it's very stiff, but over time the fabric will form to my body and it will just soften up and look really nice. Kakishibu, they call it the sunlight dye in Japan, and that's because it takes UV light to activate the dye. So if you were to take this Sashiko fabric and you were to submerge it in Kakishibu dye, and if you leave it in the dye for 24 hours, when you take it out, it still looks like it hasn't changed too much. The real change comes after that. You have to then take it and move the shirt or the fabric into the natural UV light, and then it will patina. So that process of putting it in the dye, putting it in sunlight, you repeat that over and over and over again, and you can get this color. This is one of our chore coats, and I usually dye all of our Kakishibu items to around this color depending on the time of year. However, with my shirt, I wanted to go lighter, and I did that for a couple reasons. For one, I think it looks kind of interesting. I really like this color. For another, the main reason is that I wanted to show how drastically the natural Kakishibu can evolve given the opportunity over time. There's a lot of items being sold in some retail stores that claim to be Kakishibu dyed, and I don't think that they're actually Kakishibu. So usually most of those products will just kind of fade out over time, but with natural, real hand-dyed Kakishibu, it will patina and darken. The exception to that is if you constantly wash your shirt in harsh detergents and just really kind of wash out all of the fabric. Then over time you'll just see it kind of fade out. But with my shirts and basically all of my clothing items, I rarely wash them with soap. Usually I just give them like a hand rinse and some water, and then just hang them outside in sunlight, and that's usually good enough for me. I mean, if you're working like as a farmer, then yeah, you might need to use some soap. But for me, I prefer to just wash all of my items in just water and sunlight, and that's it. Yeah, but the Kakishibu, it's a very special dye, and a lot of people have asked me how it fades over time. And with this shirt, I'm going to show people how it evolves. I don't really want to say it fades because it can darken in some spots and then maybe kind of fade out in some high friction areas. So it's a unique dye. It's more closer to leather than it is like a denim, in my opinion, like an indigo fabric. Yeah, also with the Kakishibu, the hand dyed items, we are making the shirts first and then we are dyeing the items. So because of the way the dye reacts with the UV light, if there's any shadows on the shirt as it's, you know, outside in the dyeing process, the shadowed areas will not deepen as compared to the areas that are getting a lot of direct sunlight. So with the shirts, it's kind of impossible to have every part of the fabric be in direct contact with the sunlight as often as other parts. So for example, in some of, you know, the shirts, maybe, you know, around like the armpit area where it's hanging on the line, some of the lower arm and armpit area will not get as much sunlight as the other, like the shoulder areas and the back and the chest. So the dye, it's not going to be a consistent, even tone throughout the garment. That's something to consider when purchasing. For me, I think it just adds to the natural aesthetic of the garment. Some people have commented when they receive their shirt, like, it looks like the dye kind of ran or kind of moved around during the shipping process. That I can assure you that's not the case. That's just the natural aesthetic of the Kakishibu dye. So, but I find it quite beautiful and one of its charm points. That's something to be aware of. So yeah, I'm gonna give a lot of regular updates on this shirt on our Instagram page. So you can just kind of check there to see how it's evolving over time. I'll wear this shirt a lot and give it a lot of love. Now, I mentioned washing. When I wash this shirt, all I'm gonna do is I'll probably just use a spray bottle with water and just put it on a, you know, a hanger outside and just spray it with some water and just let it dry in sunlight. And that's how I'm gonna take care of this shirt. Unless something, you know, were to happen and it gets completely dirty, then I will just put it in a washing machine without soap. Maybe in extreme circumstance I'll use soap, but no soap. Yeah, so I'm excited to show you and keep you updated on how this shirt is going to evolve over time. So I love it. It's a beautiful color right now. Also, speaking of beautiful colors, we have a new dye that we tried out on another Sashiko overshirt. This is called the Raku dye. I love it. The results are really beautiful. It's like a bubblegum pink. It looks really, really great. It looks fantastic. I'm not sure we're gonna add this option to the website for a couple of reasons. For one, it was very time consuming to make, so the price would be very high. Also, it looks a little too similar to the cochineal dye. So I think for not as much effort, you can get a similar color using other natural dyes. But this is a really cool example of the Raku dye. So it looks really great. Otherwise, yeah, Nordy, she's working on some other chore coat right now. There's a few other shirts, some easy pants. The corduroy western shirts will be coming. There's all sizes of the corduroy western shirts now on the website. So if you are interested in some of the larger sizes, you can check the size chart on the website now. We also have a few more of the raw silk chino pants, the sumi dyed chino pants, which we can also over dye in indigo, which would be a really cool option as well. I'm working on a Cordovan backpack, which is coming together very nicely. I should be all finished with that soon, and then once I'm finished with the Cordovan backpack, then I can move into some other projects that I've been waiting to get started that I'm really excited about. So in the future, the YouTube videos are going to be more interesting, I think. We have a lot of ideas and things are going to be changing. That's why we've been so busy and haven't been regularly updating with the YouTube, but in the near future, there's going to be some very exciting changes. So I'll talk about that in the near future. If you have any questions, just send us an email or you can comment. Thank you so much.